Lastly, the third way to present the data is through graphical method. For me, as a data scientist, this is the most common one and the most engaging way to present a data. This method presents the collected data in visual or pictorial form to get a clear view of data. Some notable form of the graphical method are the histogram, pie chart, Pareto chart, pictograph, etc. That's all about the methods of presenting data. We will be having a specific example for each one on our next video tutorials. This tutorial is very detailed, complete and comprehensive that will let you understand how statistics really works from basic to advanced. So, for this video we will going to discuss all about the different methods of collecting and presenting a data. After the research problem has been laid, the next step is to determine the methods to collect data, the necessary data you will be needing for your research. Here are the 5 basic methods in collecting data. Please make sure to have some notes for you too. Don't forget each of these 5 and their respective differences when it comes to application. First one is the direct or interview method. This method is a face-to-face encounter between the interviewer and the interviewee. The interview may vary according to the preference of either or both parties. However, this method is time-consuming, expensive, and has limited field coverage. Second method on collecting data is the indirect or questionnaire method. The difference of this compared to the first one is that unlike direct method, this method utilized questionnaires to obtain information. It is where the respondents will input their responses. It can be done by mail or printed copy of questions hand-carried to the intended respondents. Third method of collecting data is through the so-called registration method. This method of gathering information is governed by laws. More likely this is where the sample or the respondent will undergo a process just to register some notable information from them. Some examples of this is through the getting of NSO birth certificates, death certificates too, and obtaining any regulatory licenses coming from the government like your driver's license and PRC license is a part of the registration method. After the registration method, we can proceed with the fourth one, the observation method. This fourth method of collecting data is used in pertaining to behaviors of an individual or a group of individuals at the time of occurrence of a given situation. One limitation of this method is that observation is made only at the time or occurrence of the appropriate events, and it cannot represent the point of interest as a whole, since only specific time is allotted for observation. Last method of collecting data is the experiment method. This is used to determine the cause and effect relationship of certain phenomena under controlled conditions. This method usually employed by scientific researchers. One of the most common example of this is the laboratory activities done by the medical technologist and other health and sciences related professionals. Again, as a recap for the method of collecting data, we have the direct or interview method, indirect or questionnaire method, registration method, observation method and the experiment method. Now that you know already the different methods of collecting data, I hope you can now have some idea on what method you should apply in every research that you will be having soon. Because not all research activities will require the same method of collecting, it will be case-to-case basis depending on your research topic. After collecting the necessary data, let's now move on to the methods of presenting data. There are actually different ways in presenting a data, and the general 3-way are the following: textual method, tabular method and the graphical method. Let's discuss them one by one. First is the textual method. This method presents the collected data in narrative and paragraphs form. It is literally, you are presenting the gathered data in textual manner, just like you are typing a paragraph in Microsoft Word Office. You are presenting data through letter and symbols. The second way of presenting a data is through tabular method. This method presents the collected data in table form, which are orderly arranged in rows and columns for an easier and more comprehensive comparison of figures. Usually the upper row in the most left column is where we can see the necessary labels of the table. Lastly, the third way to present the data is through graphical method. For me, as a data scientist, this is the most common one and the most engaging way to present a data. This method presents the collected data in visual or pictorial form to get a clear view of data. Some notable form of the graphical method are the histogram, pie chart, Pareto chart, pictograph, etc. That's all about the methods of presenting data. We will be having a specific example for each one on our next video tutorials. I think that's it for now. That concludes our video tutorial for today. That is the different methods of collecting and presenting a data. I hope you learned something from this video. Our next video tutorial will be all about frequency distributions and graphs. If you have some questions to ask, you may comment them below. And if you also want to notice you through shout out, never hesitate to request on the comments section, my friend. I will be happy to notice you.